Hello, beautiful people. It's Sinderfam. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to be checking this video from the Whatever podcast. And this is about Andrew and independent boss babe. So, we're going to be checking this together. Let's check it out.
Well, most men that get divorced, they get married again because they need somebody to like take care of them. Most women that get divorced stay alone because they're like, I don't need to be somebody's like parent. I'm going to just chill by myself and it's way better alone.
Well, there's a lot of kind of presuppositions which are in here, especially with need. I think that men never usually want to get divorced in the first place, that they would rather
Right,
kind of
because you
stick
guys
it out
get
with
so
their
much
marriages.
more out of a marriage.
But but let me explain my reasoning here. I think it's because men generally are far more moral, and they adhere to a much stricter moral guideline than women tend to. And when they take this kind of vow with women, they tend to take it seriously. They want to stick together with this woman forever and ever and ever and ever. Whereas, well, I mean, you can shake your head, but you have nothing to back any of the things you're saying up. Nothing, right?
If I had my phone, I would be Googling it.
Why is it that women are initiating divorces? Why?
Because they have to do too much for a man. A lot of the time, women are willing to go and be a single mother because they're a single mother at home with their husband. Like they're just not.
So they don't want to. Wait, so
they don't want to take care of an additional person. They want to just take care of themselves and their children. They don't want to have to also take care of a full-grown man.
Care of everybody too.
You're assuming that he is.
Isn't
most men don't
working?
do that. Most.
Yeah, she said most men don't do that. But you see, the question still remains, why are most of the women initiating divorce? Why is that? Because lots of the times, especially when it comes to this, it is easier to convince a woman than to convince a man. You cannot convince a man or tell a man to leave his family and the man will up and pack and leave. But if you tell a woman to up and pack and leave, or because you're seeing this and you're doing that, or this is happening, they will leave. But men don't just leave like that. And the initial part where she says, or where she's talked about men, when men get divorced, they remarry. When women get divorced, they don't remarry. Men remarry because they know and they follow the need to want to be a family or to have a family. Women would rather stay single or would rather make it like an achievement, or they got divorced and all of that. I'm not saying all women, they got divorced and rather want to be single and follow the feminist agenda where they say, oh, you have to be strong, independent, you don't need a man, you don't need nobody, and they can do everything all by themselves. Well, if you can do it all by yourself, you obviously are depending on somebody or depending on something, because you still are getting some means of support somewhere. If we have to be honest with ourselves, because 89, well, let's even say 89% of divorced women are still receiving or are receiving, if not child support, if there's child involved, or sometimes if the men make more money, they receive spousal support and all of that, or support one way or the other. So they receive support. Is that an independent move? No. But I mean, they will not want to tell the truth, or they will not want to say the truth, because one woman is single, is taking care of her child, happily divorced and all of that, does not mean that all women who left their marriage, who got divorced, are happy being single.
Men do that. Men are out working their asses off for their women. What do you mean?
Yeah, back in the day when you were young, for sure that's what was going on. Not today.
Well, how young do you think I am? Do you think I'm 90? Like, how fucking old do you think I am, lady?
No, I don't think that you're like ridiculously old.
1948? Do you think I was born back when we smoked the pipes and smacked the bitches? Like, what do you think? How old do you think I am? I'm 40 years old. I was raised in the 90s. I was raised in the 90s.
I didn't realize that.
You didn't?
I'm sorry.
I mean, you look older than me. I'm just saying.
No way. That's not true.
Absolutely not.
So why are they now saying it's not true? Because obviously women don't want to say the truth. Don't women age?
But Andrew,
I think it's true. I just don't dye the gray out of my hair like all of you do. The only difference is I don't dye the gray out of my hair like all of you do. That's the only difference.
No. What's this?
And if I did, I'd look younger than every one of you. Oh, give me a break. Go ahead, lie to me. You have no gray in your hair and you don't dye any of the gray out, right? Go ahead, lie.
I'm not gonna lie. I will
Yeah,
say
exactly.
yes, I do things
Exactly.
to help myself look
Yep.
younger. It's the
Yeah,
society we
exactly.
live in. It's not my fault that you don't want to take those steps as well. You could have helped yourself out, and I wouldn't have guessed you were older.
It looks
Okay, exactly what we're saying. Now look at it. So now a man is saying that, oh, he's not doing the necessary things or doing all of those things because of society, based on some societal measures that they keep or make provide to say, okay, fake it till you make it, or like, okay, dye your hair if you have braids, dye your gray hair to look younger, have Botox or do surgery, facial surgery or whatnot, or you add all of this on your face to look younger, and they are deceiving you. Then women are on the other hand, many of the women are on the other hand to say, oh, they are going to take anti-age what, so they look 20 years younger, dye their grays to look 40 years younger, you name it, and all of that. They are deceiving themselves. So why is it that it is easy to convince women, or convince many women or most women, to do or to follow some certain trend? Why is it? Why is it not easy to convince a man?
Yourself out, and I wouldn't have guessed you were older.
It looks prestigious, but if you had
you.
no makeup on and all your grays were there, guarantee it, lady, look older than me. So let's not kid ourselves here. But this aside, all this aside, while we're trying to dunk on me as though you're not wearing a complete facade that I can't see right through. Can we move into the actual data portion of this argument, and you can explain to me how it is that men aren't out there busting their asses in the most treacherous jobs on planet Earth while women are sitting pampered in air-conditioned offices for the most part?
Wait, somebody wrote this. Let me see. Women taking care of men like another child is such a tired trope. Men get married again because they have value and they can. And they can. Women don't because no one wants them. What? But honestly, the mindset of which many women or many of these women keep saying that, oh, because they as a woman, they can't take care of a grown man. But you expect a man to take care of you, right? So men are busting themselves or busting their behind outside to take care of the woman at home, while the woman is inside or at home thinking of how she's going to leave the man because she's tired of taking care of the man. Really?
Women are sitting pampered in air-conditioned offices for the most part?
Wait, what did you say?
Can we move into the actual data portion of this argument, and you can explain to me how it is that men aren't out there busting their asses in the most treacherous jobs on planet Earth while women are sitting pampered in air-conditioned offices for the most part?
Oh,
What? What about air-conditioned offices?
Goals.
Okay, so I'll ask
Talking
again.
about jobs for
Okay.
gender roles.
Women, what types of jobs do you think women are doing? Do you think that they are high on the threshold of danger or very low on
Forrest
the threshold?
Gump donated $200.
I think there's scientists
Jackie
women,
Kennedy,
there's women going
you
to
go
space,
girl.
there's women that are
One second.
detectives, like there's women doing everything. What are you talking about? Did you
That's
not watch the
great.
Barbie movie?
So I feel like you don't.
Barbie movie? Okay. Now, this is Delusion 2.0, because this one has passed 1.0. How are you making realistic, or trying to be realistic, or realistic happenings or events or things, and making reference to a movie doll fantasy? Okay.
You can't even hear the question, so just listen to the question that's being asked. Before
It doesn't
you
matter
answer.
what I answer. You're going to debate it and just say I'm wrong.
No, I'm just going to ask.
I think there's
$100.
scientists.
High on the threshold of danger or very low on
Forrest
the threshold?
Gump donated $200.
I think there's scientists
Jackie
women,
Kennedy,
there's women going
you
to
go
space,
girl.
there's women that are
One second.
detectives, like there's women doing everything. What are you talking about? Did you
That's
not watch the Barbie
great.
movie?
So I feel like you can't even hear the question. So just listen to the question that's being asked.
It doesn't matter what I answer. You're going to debate it and just say I'm wrong.
No, I'm just going to ask you the question, and then if you answer it
You
in a
said,
way
what
that
job
I
are
agree
women
with,
doing? And
I'll
I
never
said-
debate it. Right? I'll never
Okay.
debate it if I agree with the answer.
Okay.
So the question is, do you think that women's jobs are high on the danger threshold scale or low on the danger threshold scale?
Who chose to have a dangerous job and allocate the jobs to whoever? Men did.
I feel like you're allergic to answering a question.
No, because I think that there's women that are doing
you have
dangerous
allergies
jobs
to question
now.
answering. Is it a condition that you have? Perhaps we should get you some medication to fix the lack of being able to answer a simple question. So I'm going to ask it a third time, perhaps without this time asking me a question instead of answering, or changing the question instead of answering. You just answer the fucking question. So here's the question. Do you think women's jobs are higher or lower on the danger threshold scale?
What? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I didn't hear you either. Huh?
And you see, they are making fun, but interestingly, women don't even choose dangerous jobs. They would not go for it. And honestly, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, if we have jobs that are dangerous, 99% dangerous, it's most likely going to be the men that are going to choose it and do it. Not because they want to do it, but because, I mean, if they don't do it, nobody will do it. Women would not. So men are required to do it 99% of the time. And even if we have women doing that, which is a 0.1%, if we have women doing it, the men are still going to be protecting that woman. And that is true. That is true. And some women will say, oh, well, they are not asking for the men's protection. Well, you cannot do it all by yourself, because if they leave women to, let's even say if you leave a woman to carry a log of wood, one woman to carry a log of wood, it will take you 20 years, or it will take her 20 years to carry that log of wood to the destination. And that is true. But men will do it without, like, in your mind, you would think it's an easy thing, but it's not. But men will, or men would, but women would not.
You should vocal fry harder.
It was intentional.
I know it was intentional. Can you answer the fucking question,
No,
please?
I'm opting out of it. You're
Pretty
just
please with
dramatic.
sugar on
No.
top? No?
No.
Can't do it? It's impossible?
Yes.
Okay.
So Andrew, let's go back to our little exchange really quickly. You said you seen that the strongest correlate was or I'm guessing that your source said that the strongest correlate was women being influenced by their friends or having divorced female friends.
Yeah, well,
correct?
this is I don't know if it's the strongest, but it's a really strong correlate that we found was if you're in a group with divorced women and you're not divorced, your likelihood of getting divorced increases exponentially compared to if you're around women who aren't. The way that you could make that comparison is between religious communities and non-religious communities. The more religious the community, the less they tend to divorce, right?
Right.
But there's other correlates there to look at too, which is the religiosity, for instance.
Right.
But it is something that should be looked at, I think.
Right. No, and like I said, I agree. But in terms of where I disagree with that is looking more at the predictor of divorce, and of course this is a much more complex web, because then I'm talking about on an individual basis, and what typically happens in marriage dissolution is emotional dissatisfaction, or they say they've grown apart, and typically that results from conflict.
Yes, but the question is, and I agree with all of what you just said, but the question then becomes, why are they saying that?
Right.
Is it coming from them, or is it coming from something which is external? So if it's coming from this external idea, because you're hanging out with a bunch of divorced henpecking bitches, right, who are just like miserable and counting all their cats, and they want misery loves company, as they say. Could that be a good, strong indicator of why you see more women who are in the groups of divorced women getting divorced at much higher rate, right, than when they're in groups of non-divorced women?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's both.
I mean, you could shake your head. You had a chance to argue, though, and all you did was go, So it's like, I don't know what to do about that.
Because you didn't want to listen to me. You didn't want to listen to my points or anything that I was saying. You just wanted to talk over me.
You have to answer questions. You have to answer questions.
Your question was irrelevant.
What's irrelevant?
Your question about, do you think women's jobs are this or this? Do men have more
And
dangerous
if it's
jobs?
you know what? If you asked me an irrelevant question, I would answer it quickly, and then I would ask you the question that I wanted, or I would dispute whatever you thought was irrelevant. That's the easiest thing to do, is to just dispute whatever's irrelevant. Easiest thing you can do.
No, I was starting to answer you, and then you came for my looks. You said that I looked older than you. You didn't want to
No,
actually
you started
hear.
talking shit, so I started talking shit back.
I genuinely did not realize that you were only 40.
Playing the woman card. You see this mindset. But honestly, back to what you said, because obviously we said this in the beginning, because if many women who are married start hanging out around divorced women, they will have the ideology. That's why you see lots of the ideology or the idea to want to leave their husband. That's why you see lots of people would say, oh, they come on TikTok and say they left the good guy. Okay, why did you leave your husband? He's doing all of the nice things. He's doing everything a man should, but you got bored because your friend somewhere, or you saw a podcaster or somebody somewhere is telling you, oh, leave this man. The man forgot today to tell you good morning. The man forgot today to buy you chocolate. The man forgot your birthday. The man forgot this. The man did not do this. So why is it always about the man? Have there not ever been a time you forgot something? But obviously, it is not going to be the woman's part. They are always listening to external factor. When you are the one in your relationship, you don't want to pay attention. But someone else is doing the thinking for you, then you carry out, and then leave your marriage, go stay in the company of other miserable women, because misery loves company, other miserable women, and then come crying on the internet to say, oh, you regret leaving your husband. Why you think you're playing child's game? You are not, don't. But obviously, yeah, she was the one that first insulted or talked about his looks. But obviously, is a man. So, I mean, if you talk about a man's look, it's no problem. But when you start talking about a woman's looks, it becomes a problem. Why is that?
Apologize. But since I genuinely did not realize that you were only 40, I apologize. But since women are so emotional, you really handled that very well.
When I wrote your age down at 34, I was also stunned. I was like, this 60-year-old lady's 34? That's insane. Like, it was mind-blowing to me, too. You know what I mean? But I've seen so many women, I think, inside of like I always tell my audience, the women look way worse in person than they do on camera. I think that they all, like, do their makeup specifically knowing they're going on camera. They always look worse, by the way, in person than they do on camera. But more importantly than that is I see the amount of shit they do to themselves, right? So this is me. This is just how I look all the time, day and night, 24 hours a day. Not a one of you look like that 24 hours a day, not even close, right? And so it's like, fair enough. You can kind of judge the looks, but I'd like to see you no makeup with all the grays. And then I think people would judge it differently. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Man. Did you want to answer the question?
Well, I know when I got
said,
divorced,
if you took off all your
well,
makeup
I can say I know when I got divorced, my husband assumed that I had divorced women in my ear convincing me to get divorced. I can tell you it very much had nothing to do with that, like from my own experience. But I think in both situations, even with the men, where you've got your friends and you're convincing you to stay married, like you still have your peer group persuading you. I think it's just about evaluating your situation against the potential of something you don't have. And
I agree.
Evaluating the options.
I agree. But I guess my only dispute here would be, what if your peer group is more likely as men to tell you, divorce fucking sucks. This sucks. I lost my kids. I lost my house. It's a bad country music song, right? I lost everything in this divorce. And so you hear more of those stories as a man.
I think the
right?
system's bad.
I think that acts as a great deterrent, whereas for women, that deterrent doesn't seem to be there.
Well, no, the system's not very fair to men. I think in general, the system's not very fair to men. There's very few men that I know that have custody of their children.
Yo, Tank, thank you for the gifted 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
that's a good. I think it's a good take. I mean, you're right that everyone's going to be influenced by their peer group. I don't dispute that. I'm just kind of asking, what if your peer group in general, right, is having really bad experiences with X thing, and then the other group which participates in the same thing, doesn't have those bad experiences, right?
But how much of it is gender and how much of it is just the system, like getting divorced? Like, a lot of states are more favorable towards women in divorce. Like, I don't know that it's necessarily the woman's fault that the judge.
Well, I'm not saying it's ontological. Like, I'm not saying because you're a woman, only because of the fact that you have a vagina, therefore you're likely to get divorced, right?
Just
of course, there's
donated
factors which are.
$200. I've worked construction for 6 years, and there has never been a woman working on the job site. If I'm working 60 hours a week, and you're not working, get in the kitchen, then clean my clothes.
But exactly. And lots of men will share their experience and talk about this because obviously men work longer hours, work and bust that behind. Now let's even talk about this. Yeah, it's a good thing that she said this because obviously when it comes to divorce rate and divorce, it's not favorable to men most of the time. Or majority of the time it's not favorable to men. Women leave because other women are in their ear telling them, okay, oh, they got this, when they got divorced, this was what they got and all of that. So I mean, it's favorable to them. So obviously what is favorable, you have more women. But yeah, not like everybody who got divorced were listening to external factors. Some of them, they saw some things, but I would say majority of the time is as a result of external factor, because they love to listen to the outside rather than paying attention to your relationship. The minute you stopped paying attention to your relationship, then your relationship is up for doom, and that is a fact.
Gerald, thank you for the TTS. Speaking of which, we have lowered it to, it's all good. TTS is now 69 if you want to get them in. Continue, go ahead.
I'm done.
Yeah, I was just kind of agreeing. I don't think we disagree here. I don't think that because you're born with a vagina, that means you're like predisposed to want to get divorced more than men. So I'm looking at the factors which are external to that, right? I'm like, well, wait a second.
Sorry.
CDCK_it_worker donated $69. Bro dude's clearly enjoying self-harm. He's already getting fixing broken code in prod, and his wife is getting by chads on camera. That's up if you ask me.
Worker, thank you, man, appreciate it. Go ahead, Andrew. I'll pause it to let you.
Oh yeah, no worries. So just very briefly, I was just saying that I don't think because you're born with a vagina or born with a penis that therefore you're more likely to get divorced or not divorced. So I'm just looking at how different peer groups behave in society.
But when you look at it, 90% of the, let's just say 89% of the time, many women initiate divorce, they leave, and most of the time, many of them listen to some particular group of people. If it's not from their peer groups, it's always going to be from social media, because they saw somebody who is doing okay or is doing so well, leaving their husband and all of that. So they also think they can, so they leave and also want to live that type of lifestyle, which doesn't even make sense. When are women, or when are most of the women going to grow up and start paying attention to your relationship, rather work on the relationship? Because lots of people don't even want to put in the work. And if we're going to be talking about this, majority of the time we need men more. Job sectors, even in family. Look at the families of kids that are raised on the single parent household, and single parent household raised by a mother as a single mother. Then look at the family that was raised by a single father. There's obviously a difference. There's always a difference. So I mean, where is the problem? Who is the problem? And lots of the time, many of these women just want divide. It's not making sense. When are women gonna work and start saying, oh, it's time to fix this and it's time for them to come together? Because obviously, if men decide today they don't want to get married, they don't want to stay married, women at the end of the day will be in the losing end. And that is true. Argue with yourself. But let me know what you think about this so far. I'm sure tons of people have interesting things to share. I would really love you to share that. You can share the useful information you think might be really helpful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.